Family has asked us to announce that immediately following this service, interment will take place at Mount Olive Cemetery. The family will then be returning to Lander Haven at 6111 Lander Haven Drive and will be receiving calls of condolence until 6:30 p.m. this evening. Tomorrow and Tuesday, they will be receiving Shiva calls from 2 to 4 p.m. and again from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Sussel residence at 34353, that's 34353 Bramble Lane in Solon. Contributions are recommended to the Myasthenia Gravis Foundation or the Treasure Coast Hospice. The mysteries of life and death are beyond our understanding. We are perplexed and overwhelmed when pain and anguish befall those whom we love. In sorrow, confronted by death which has taken Harvey from us, we feel our own frailty. Like mourning, we glisten for an hour or two, but then disappear into a new day. Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu, our God, God of our ancestors, even 1,000 years in your sight are as a passing hour of the night. Our generations come and go, but you, O God, endure forever. We are always in your hand, Adonai, in death as in life. Harvey Allen Sussel, son of Charles and Lillian, is missed and mourned by his children, Jeffrey, Shelley and Dean, Ray and Regina, Sherry and Ross, and Jim and Denise, by his grandchildren, Leland and Katie, Jeremy, Corey, Adam and Austin, Zach and Ben, along with Emily and Jesse. He was preceded in death by his parents, by his wife, Bonnie, and by his granddaughter, Brianna. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'amet. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, the righteous judge. Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevorach. The prophet Job teaches us, God has given but taken away, and still we praise God's name. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echzar, binot desha yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yenahaleni, nafshi yeshovev yanchileni v'ma'ag tzedek lema'an shemo. The Psalm of King David. God is our shepherd, we shall not want. God causes us to lie down in green pastures. God leads us beside still waters. God restores our soul and guides us on the right paths for the sake of the divine name. Even though when we walk as we do at this moment, in the valley of the shadow of death, we fear no evil. You, God, are with us. Your rod and staff comfort us. You set a table before us, even in the presence of our enemies. You anoint our heads with oil, and our cup overflows. Ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti b'veit Adonai la'orech yamim. Surely goodness and mercy will follow us all of the days of our lives, and we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Harvey will be remembered by his grandsons, Austin and Jeremy, followed by his son, Ray.
My grandfather was a loving leader and a tireless worker until his final days. The stories I've been told about the bowling alley tell tales of a man who worked until the last pin fell every single night, dedicated to his workers and his patrons alike. And I can't tell you how many times I've been stopped walking through the streets of Cleveland as a Sussel by a stranger. And first they ask how he's doing, and it's followed up by a story from the bowling alley. And a great time that was shared by many people, and probably a story I've already heard. But that said, it happened so many times. I'm going to miss that. One of the proudest moments that we were able to share together was just after I was initiated into my fraternity, Zeta Beta Tau. And at the time, I didn't know that he was even Greek when he went to college. I hardly knew he went to Ohio State. That said, he told me stories about his days in his fraternity, being president of his fraternity. And when he told me the fraternity letters, I paused for a moment, and it dawned on me that his fraternity had combined with 3 others to form my fraternity. So not only was he my grandfather, but he was also my fraternity brother. And so once we made that connection, we had a secret handshake that we shared, aside from the one that he does with all his grandkids, where he shakes your hand until it's ready to fall off, and he says, "Let go of my arm, Tiger." And we're all going to miss that, because he did it until, I think, the last time I shook his hand. He's a fighter who is always in charge, whether being called boss, captain, commodore, president, papa, or patient. He was always running the show. Just ask his doctors and his caretakers. I know he's resting now with his Bonnie at peace, leaving this world as easy as anyone could hope to pass. Family at his side, loving him from near and far. And he was a man who lived every day like it was worth celebrating. And that and his leadership are what I will always remember about him. And I love you, Papa Harvey. We're going to miss you.
I have many fond memories of Papa Harvey, but one that really stands out for me: when I was an adolescent, he'd often ask me if I was on the computer. I didn't really know what he meant, and I figured he meant, do I use a computer? And of course I did. He would then say, "Good, what's your email address?" I told him my mom and dad won't let me have an email of my own yet, and he would take my side and told me to tell them to hurry up and get one. I couldn't help but wonder why he was in such a hurry for me to get an email address. When my parents finally allowed me to have an AOL account, for the first person I emailed was Papa Harvey. I remember checking my email a day later, and I already had probably 15 to 20 emails from him, from his chain email of jokes. Some were funny, others I was too young to understand, but from that point on, we would email, and I am often. Papa Harvey took the time to include me on his list of emails. It made me feel special, and it made me smile even at that time, because of how long he waited to add me. I have many more memories that I will cherish of him, including the boat outings when I was little. Papa Harvey, I love you. While I'm sad that we won't be emailing anymore or communicating over the computer, I'm happy to know you're no longer in pain or suffering. I hope you're having happy on our boat somewhere with Bonnie.
What can I say about my dad, Harvey Allen Sussel? Having his funeral during a Browns game. I think that's his way of saving us all from watching another loss. Thanks, Dad. He was so many things to so many people, and he was many things to you and I as well. He was a son, he was a husband, he was a father, he was a grandfather, he was a pilot, he was a boater. He was a leader in so many organizations, and I'm not going to try to name them. He was a business owner and an operator several times over, and as most of you know, he helped start and run Mainland Lanes. Many of us were literally raised there. People would always ask us about being raised in a bowling alley. The 3 of us, Jeff, Shelley, and I, we talk about it often. It was an amazing way to grow up. We can tell stories about that later, about what that meant to each of us and what Mainland might have meant to you. So many of you have already commented on social media or in text to each of us the stories of what it meant to grow up at Mainland, or what it meant to be at Mainland. And many people have commented that my dad passed on things to them, whether things that they learned, being a hard worker. So many of my friends have commented, and it makes us proud of him. We are all proud of for all the things that he accomplished. As I look back to the last few years, he had a few bouts with cancer and other issues that really changed him as he sort of aged right before our eyes. Jeff and Shelley, Sherry, Jimmy, Denise, and I would all take turns visiting him in Florida and making sure he was doing okay. As many of you know, he struggled at times and was not really good at asking for help. Jeff, Shelley, and I thank God every day over the last few years for Jimmy and Denise living so close to Dad. As you guys were there throughout so many of those challenges, and were literally there to clean up after him when he fell, as well as take him to breakfast at Perkins, clearly his favorite place to eat. I'm not sure there are words to express our gratitude to the two of you. Dad was stubborn, but I think that's because he had been so independent, especially since Bonnie, his wife and soulmate of close to 30 years, died 10 years ago. He lived alone, and as his health declined, he decided he did not want to move back up here to be closer to family. He wanted to do things his own way. For those of us who spent any time with him, you probably remember there were three ways to do something: the right way, the wrong way, and Harvey's way. Well, his way meant us getting to say goodbye last week. I prayed a lot that Dad did not have to suffer, and that he was able to leave this world on his own terms. He made sure everyone, the doctors, the nurses, and us, knew his wishes, which was a huge blessing. We were by his side last Wednesday as he took his last breath. He was at peace. He is now with his Bonnie. But as sad as that sounded, I choose to remember the life that he lived. The generous, funny man who loved to order his favorite drink, a VO and water, in a clean glass. Does anybody actually know what VO is? He would order that at some places, and the waiters would just look at him and go, "What do you want?" He would also order his food on a clean plate. Again, one of his favorite lines. I don't think it ever got old, as long as he had a new server to use it on. He would always tell you, if you're heading to Vegas, say hi to my money. I do that now. That's really sad. So many of you have commented that he made you laugh. He definitely had a sense of humor, as well as a very bad temper that he eventually outgrew. Again, there are great stories about his temper at the bowling alley and his home in Menor, and we'll discuss those later. Dad loved his family. He loved to eat. So whenever we were together, we would end up going out to eat. Shrimp cocktail was one of his favorites, but after his health declined, he was not able to enjoy it. He got me started eating shrimp at Shelley's 13th birthday party. I was probably 9 or 10. We were at the top of the town, a very famous restaurant in the 70s that overlooked the city of Cleveland. He ordered me a shrimp cocktail, told me it was chicken, and I liked it. Then I found out what it was. I cried the rest of that night. To this day, every time I eat shrimp, I think of him. We all have a memory of Harvey, of Dad. So what I ask you over the next few days, weeks, and even years, please keep telling those stories to us and others. They make us laugh, they make us cry, mostly they make us smile. As I said, he loved to make others laugh. He also loved a good party, which is why we as a family decided Lander Haven was an appropriate place to honor him today. So we will go together, enjoy each other's companies, and continue to honor and remember my dad. I love you, Dad.
Actually, שיר למעלות עיני אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי, עזרי מעם אדוני עושה שמיים וארץ. We lift our eyes to the mountains. What is the source of our help? Our help comes from God, who is the maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way, your guardian will not slumber. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is our protection, a guardian at our right hand. The sun will not harm us by day, nor the moon by night. Adonai will protect us from all harm. Watch over our coming and going. Me'atav ad olam, now and forever. In addition to all the wonderful memories that you heard from Jeremy and Austin and Ray, Shelley remembers the time when, for Harvey's 75th birthday, she and her brothers put color-coded notes in a fishbowl for them to pull out, for their father to pull out, just with memories and thoughts. The memories include things like how Harvey kept the family together even after the divorce with Estelle, how he kept sitting there in their house on Friday evenings when he used to pick them up, how he helped her buy her first car. She made payments for months or years, but at the end he returned to her a bank book, something we don't have anymore, with all her money in it. But he had taught her how to save and be responsible. She remembers how the family took boat trips to Cedar Point. Occasionally, with a storm, had to turn back, but they went in the boat. How he bought stuff out of a catalog for her. How there were pictures of the grandchildren on the refrigerator in his wallet. And Sherry and Jim, Bonnie's children, thought of Harvey not as a stepfather, but as a bonus father. He was there for graduations and weddings, to be there when Sherry became a parent. He would hide the keys from her if she lost them, make her go play hide and seek, for them to just to teach her that she needed to put her keys in the same place every time. He finished the coin collection that Bonnie had started to present to his grandchild. Talked about how he, together with his parents, Lil and Charlie, built Mayland Lanes and how important that was, not only as a center of the family, but really as a center of the community. And it bears repeating that he was a leader. He was a leader in the Ohio and in the National Bowling Owners Organization. They hosted so many leagues. The place was a center for community life, and there were many leagues. The American Legion, the JCC. They then, of course, needed to expand the business to support a larger family and were involved in the Eastgate Coliseum, which not only had bowling, but added on swimming pool, billiards, mini golf, and then into the campus ribs and pizza business. As you heard, he loved to live on the water in Mentor, loved to boat, loved to fly. He would fly sometimes to Erie or Columbus for lunch. He was involved in the International Order of the Blue Gavel, which is the past presidents of yacht clubs, or past commodores, I should say, of yacht clubs. The Masonic Lodge and the American Legion. And then in Florida, together with Bonnie, initially moving to Palm Beach Gardens, they went into business again, a video store and a medical transport business. And now it is time, after the illnesses that you heard, for Harvey to say, for us to say farewell to him. As his time has come and he's now at rest. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of the righteous be indeed a blessing. Please rise. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen B'Maromim, Hamitzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, B'malot Kedoshim U'Toharim, Kezoha Harakia Mazirin, Et Nishmat Chayim Leib, Shehalach L'Olamo, B'Gan Eden Tiyeh Menuchato, Ana Bal Harachamim, Hastirehu B'Seiter Knafecha L'Olamim, U'Tzcho B'Tzoach Chayim Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu Nachlato, V'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, v'nomar, Amen. Exalted and compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, to the soul of Harvey Allen, son of Lillian and Charles. He has now gone to his eternal home. Merciful One, may he find perfect peace in your sheltering embrace. May his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. May he rest in peace. And we say, Amen.